Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, library board members and staff. I'd just like to formally open up the Tuesday, November 25th, our Middlesex County Library Board meeting for today. And we'll start call the order, and I'm going to ask Lindsay to read the acknowledgement, land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of the Attawandaron, Anishinaabeg, Haudenosaunee, and Lenape-Wauk peoples who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. The local First Nation communities of this area include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation, and Munsee Delaware Nation. We acknowledge the treaties that are specific to this area: Treaty 2, McKee Purchase; Treaty 3, Between the Lakes Purchase; Treaty 6, London Township Purchase; Treaty 21, Longwoods Purchase; and Treaty 29, Huron Tract Purchase. We value the significant contributions both in the past and the present of local and regional First Nations of Turtle Island. We acknowledge historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm going to ask for provisions for disclosure of pecuniary interest or any general nature thereof. Seeing none, we'll move to item 3, which is the minutes of the October 21st, 2025 meeting of the Library Board. Is there any questions or comments with respect to those minutes that were presented? If not, then I look for a mover and a seconder that the minutes of the October 21st, 2025 meeting of the Library Board be approved as presented. Moved by Sharon and second by Brad. Further comments? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Now we'll go to vision item 4, which is a vision topic, early learners update presentation by Shauna and child and youth librarian Lindsay.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Shauna Daranaski, the Child and Youth Librarian for Middlesex County Library. Today, I'm excited to update you on our Early Learners programming, which continues to grow and plays a vital role in supporting families, children, and early literacy across the county. I'll highlight storytime development and training, early literacy initiatives, and what we have planned for 2026. Next slide, please. This morning, I'll focus on 3 main areas: supercharged storytime training, the ABC Read With Me initiative, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, which is launching in 2026. I'll also share our next steps and opportunities to strengthen our impact. So Storytime is one of our most important programs for families. We offer weekly storytime at 11 branches and evening programs at several locations. Because staff have varying experience levels, we invested in training to improve consistency and quality across our branches. Previously, new staff learned by visiting several branches to observe storytime, then asking questions to the staff member afterward. While this is really valuable, we realized we needed a more structured approach. In 2023, 13 Storytime staff were enrolled in Supercharged Storytime training. Supercharged Storytime training consists of 6 modules with videos, readings, activities, and reflection questions. Staff completed the modules at their own pace, either at home or in the branch. The training was developed by Saroj Gote, a retired early childhood literacy consultant. It was based on research found in the Views 2 study, the first systematic study of storytimes ever conducted. The training was hosted on WebJunction. The training only required a simple login. Staff are able to return anytime to watch the videos, review materials, or download the documents, which is incredibly valuable. Best of all, the training was completely free, which is rare for a program of this quality. Next slide, please. Thank you. So why did we want staff to complete Supercharged Storytime training? So I came up with 4 different whys. The first one was building a foundation. Storytime staff range from complete beginners to those with 15 years or more experience. The training ensured that everyone started with a strong foundation to grow together and a shared understanding. The second was to create a community. Staff are often far apart geographically. After each module, we met virtually for an hour to discuss learning and share ideas. The third was to promote consistency. Staff still retain creative freedom in books, songs, and rhymes, but the training emphasizes including core early literacy components, including phonological awareness, print awareness, letter knowledge, vocabulary, and background knowledge. And the fourth was to encourage lifelong learning. Storytime is always evolving. There's new songs, rhymes, props, instruments, and even things like yoga that we can incorporate into Storytime. This training is the first step in ongoing professional development, helping staff refine skills and engage families more effectively. Next slide, please. Next, I'd like to share a video that was filmed by our summer student named Emily. She visited several branch locations in the summer to capture real Storytime moments.
Drop into one of our welcoming Middlesex County Library branches for a Storytime experience designed to spark a lifelong love of reading. Each session includes stories, rhymes, songs, and shared moments that you and your child will cherish together. Every member of our Storytime team has completed Supercharged Storytime training, equipping them to intentionally build early literacy skills into every session. Our team strives to create friendly, engaging environments where children and their caregivers can learn, laugh, and grow together. We believe that when parents and caregivers are part of the experience, singing, talking, and sharing stories and songs alongside their little ones, it strengthens both learning and connection. While each Storytime is unique, our team is thoughtful about choosing books, songs, and activities that reflect the developmental stages and interests of the group. Through these shared experiences, children begin to build essential early literacy skills in a joyful and meaningful way. Reading readiness starts long before a child opens their first book. Our Storytimes support the 6 key components of early literacy: oral language, phonological awareness, print awareness, letter knowledge, vocabulary, and background knowledge. Through stories, songs, rhymes, and interactive moments, our programs help lay the foundation for future reading success. Each trained staff member brings their own style and creativity to Storytime, offering a variety of experiences that encourage language development, social connection, and a love of books. Whether you're a first-time visitor or a returning family, there's always something new to discover. Storytime is more than a program. It's a chance to connect with your child, meet other families, and build a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. Visit library.middlesex.ca/storytime for up-to-date information on locations and times. We can't wait to welcome you to Storytime.
So we shared this video on our social media in the fall to invite families to attend one of our Storytime programs. As a result of Supercharged Storytime training, staff are asked to include at least one early literacy component in every Storytime. For example, in the video that you just watched, Kristen pointed to letters on a board, which demonstrates letter knowledge, which is an early literacy component. Staff are also encouraged to share parent tips during story time. For example, they can explain to parents that narrating everyday activities to their babies and toddlers can help build vocabulary, narrative skills, and comprehension. So our next steps for story time include introducing a short parent survey to gather feedback and using self-assessment and potentially peer observation as new cohorts complete the training as a way to evaluate the current practices of storytime staff. Next slide, please. Next, I'd like to introduce ABC Read With Me. This is a program that began before I joined the library in 2014. It used to be called Early Literacy Baby Book Bags, but we rebranded a few years ago and developed a new name and logo. So I currently work on this initiative with Allison Beauchamp from Early On. This program supports early literacy from birth. All new and expectant parents in Middlesex County can receive a free bag containing 2 board books and early literacy resources. Bags are available at library branches and Early On locations. And I did bring a sample that I can show you after the presentation. This project is funded through Middlesex Supports, and the bags include materials from Middlesex London Health Unit, Tyke Talk, Early On, and library programming. So our bag distribution numbers are up on the slide. In 2022, gave out approximately 86 bags, 2023, 200, 2024, 168, and 2025 is actually 140. I gave out a few more since I made this slide, so we're on good track for 2025 as well. We see a steady participation and strong interest. In 2026, we're going to explore ways to expand the program to reach more caregivers. When giving out these bags, staff are encouraged to explain the importance of early literacy to parents, encouraging them to read, sing, and talk with their babies, which can build vocabulary, cognitive skills, and social emotional connection. Next slide, please. Thank you. So our next steps for 2026, for story time, we're going to explore some opportunities for guest speakers or workshops for Storytime staff and introduce assessment tools using the Supercharged Storytime framework to measure impact. For ABC Read With Me, myself and Nadine Devon are looking for ways to connect with parents outside of library spaces, which include potentially doing home deliveries of the bags to new parents. And lastly, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten is a new program that we'd like to introduce in 2026. So with this program, families would receive a registration package and a reading tracker for their child. Families with children from birth to kindergarten will be invited to register. Each family receives a Duotang welcome package and a reading tracker. So families log every book that they read together. Once they've read 500 books, children will receive a milestone book, which is either the board book, 5 Speckled Frogs, or an early reader box as well. So the families can determine which book they would like to take. Once they've read 1,000 books, they will receive this book called Wherever You Go by Alexandra Penfold, as well as a certificate of completion. So research shows that frequent reading from birth builds vocabulary, pre-reading skills, and school readiness. The 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program also celebrates parent involvement and helps families establish lasting reading habits. For the 2026 pilot, we can support 100 participants. The program will be offered at Early On baby time programs, library branches, and Early On locations, providing a fun, flexible, and impactful way to foster a lifelong love of reading. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation, Shauna. I and just so I understand, but this reading, the library reading program you showed in the video there, that's at the various libraries, and it's at various times depending on the library. So that's when you see posted at the front of the library when it is, that's how you message out. It varies of what library you're at.
Yeah, the majority of our libraries offer story time on Friday mornings at 10:30, but there are some exceptions to that. For example, Kamoka offers it on Mondays. Some of our basic branches offer evening options too. So yeah, they are at various times.
Yeah, which when I was young, they had the 1,000 books by kindergarten, because at least I'd be able to read a book every couple months now instead of what it takes me. So thank you for that. I'm just going to open up for any questions from any of the library board members or warden with respect to this presentation. I think from the presentation and from the enthusiasm shown throughout that video, I think it's a very worthwhile and needed program for our library. So I want to thank you for that, and appreciate you coming and making this presentation.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask, with that, I'm going to ask that the early learners updated presentation be received for information. Moved by Mayor Gay, seconded by Brad. Further comments? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thanks again. Next, we have our item 4B, which are a technical service update, and presented by Amy, a technical service coordinator. Amy? Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Amy Sparzinski, and I am the Technical Services Coordinator for Middlesex County Library. I'm going to review a few of the services that fall under my umbrella. So this includes digital collections, social media, our new digital signage initiative, the Reserve online booking room booking system, our upcoming Polaris migration, and a few new offerings for 2026. So usage of our digital collections remains consistent. Patrons have downloaded more than 60,000 titles from Cloud Library, more than 20,000 from Hoopla, 3,000 from Canopy, and viewed nearly 60,000 publications with Press Reader so far this year. Usage of both Canopy and Hoopla is limited due to our monthly budget spend caps. While this helps us manage our funds, it means usage is unable to grow. We continue to benefit from our membership in Cloud Library's CloudLink program. This partnership includes 29 Ontario libraries who share their digital collections. While items we have purchased always go to Middlesex patrons first, they then become available to patrons of other libraries. But this goes both ways. Our patrons also have access to the other libraries' collections. In the first half of 2025, Middlesex patrons borrowed 28,629 items from the CloudLink collection. It would have cost us close to $1 million to purchase those titles ourselves. So we really do benefit from this collaboration. Audiobooks continue to be more popular with our patrons than ebooks. This does pose a challenge for our collection development, as audiobooks can cost up to 50% more than the ebook of the same title. Social media continues to be an important part of our engagement strategy, trying to meet our patrons where they are online. Following our departure from Twitter, we added profiles on both Blue Sky and Threads, although engagement remains highest on our Facebook page, where we average over 16,000 views a week of our content. Advertising on Facebook and Instagram is very affordable and effective. For example, our Summer at the Library campaign reached 10,660 unique users,
with 681 of those choosing to click on the link in the ad for more information. This was at a cost of $100, or about 15 cents per link click. So we launched our new digital signage project in June of 2025. These can currently be seen in Dorchester, Lucan, Glencoe, Mount Bridges, and Elsa Craig, and it will be coming soon in Coldstream. These branches all have TVs in public areas of the branch. These allow for promotion of programs and services, as well as announcements like holiday closures. In the past, we subscribed to different services to do something similar, which ended up being fairly costly over time. Instead, we did a one-time purchase of Amazon Fire Sticks and used the free Amazon Photos app to display the images. So for minimal one-time cost, we're now able to have these displays in a number of our branches. Reserve is our online room booking service. It has now been in place for a year, allowing patrons and service partners to book offices, study rooms, and program rooms through our website. Reserve is a subscription product from Communico, which also provides the content management system for our website and our event registration. Using the same vendor for these products creates a more seamless experience for both patrons and staff. For patrons, it means they don't have to leave our website to do different things, and it all looks the same. And for staff, it means they have a single login for managing program registration, room reservations, and the website. In the spring of 2026, we will be moving to a new ILS. ILS, or Integrated Library Software, is the computer program that manages our inventory. It is used by staff to perform checkouts and check-ins, and it tells us where a book is at any given time. Currently, we use an ILS called Sierra, which we have used since December of 2015. We hope that disruptions for patrons will be minimal during this transition. We anticipate 1 week of reduced services when only checkouts will be possible. But since Sierra and Polaris are provided by the same vendor, our public interface will remain the same after the migration. So when our users go to request holds, view their checkouts, search for books, that will all appear exactly the same to them. They won't see any difference. The differences will all be on the staff side. Our team will begin planning for this migration in December, and our tentative launch is May of 2026. Also in 2026, we'll be introducing 2 new online learning platforms for our patrons. The first is Help Now from BrainFuse. Help Now offers live, real-time online tutoring for elementary and high school students. The tutors are available daily from 2 p.m. to midnight with no limits on the number of patrons who can access their services on any given day. Help Now is staffed by professional tutors who offer support with anything covered in the Ontario curriculum. The second service is Get Set Up from Gale. Get Set Up is an online learning platform and community for older adults. Users can attend live or pre-recorded classes on technology skills, fitness, travel, history, culinary skills, and more. The format encourages interactions so participants build relationships with fellow students. Get Set Up classes can also be used to support library programming as we are granted public performance rights. Both of these products were selected to meet needs expressed by patrons who responded to our online resources survey back in September.
Thank you. So, any questions? I'll go to Ruth first.
Thank you so much for all the explanations. Just out of curiosity, why are you changing the ILS? Is one becoming defunct and so you're having to move up to something different? Or?
Sierra was originally designed as an academic library ILS. And while it has worked well for us for 10 years, Polaris being bought out by Innovative and both of those products now being under that umbrella gives us an opportunity to move to a public library specific ILS. With the support of a team who has done this migration a number of times. Moving from one vendor to another can be more challenging. The fact that both Sierra and Polaris are offered by the same vendor, we're hoping that's going to make the migration project go smoother. As well, we currently host our own servers for Sierra, meaning all of the information is hosted locally, which has proven costly with continued server upgrades and some unexpected challenges. Polaris is entirely web-based, meaning our information will be hosted elsewhere, which takes that hosting responsibility and cost away from us.
Any other questions then?
You know
Very
what
good.
I'm thinking.
Sorry.
I'm also wondering about packing. Like, if now everything goes to into their responsible hands, I'm assuming that whole
Yes,
issue has been looked at pretty serious.
very seriously, and they're definitely the experts, and this is a service they're offering to libraries worldwide. And that takes well, of course, we are always going to be responsible for the safety of our patrons' data. This means we're putting it in the hands of people who are greatly experienced, and I don't want to diminish our IT department. They're also fantastic and greatly experienced, but this is what this company does. And we really respect their high level of service and their commitment to data protection.
Then I go to Mary Gay.
Yes, thank you very much for this, Amy. Amy, and I don't know if you want to answer it or who can. The Fire Sticks, Amazon Fire Sticks, we use them ourselves and they're very handy. I think they are anyway. Is there a credit card attached to that? So it's kind of touching on Bruce a little bit since last month was Cyber Security Month.
There's not credit card information saved on the Amazon account that we used to purchase and create the logins for the Fire Sticks. So if we do need to purchase something using that Amazon account, we just enter the credit card information a single time. It's never saved on Amazon. They're also protected by a parental control pin that only I have.
Any other questions then at all? Okay. Well, thank you, Amy. I appreciate the presentation. It, you know, with it being a lot of IT, it's a little different than a lot of us are used to talking about, but appreciate that and appreciate understanding how it all works. And I know that you can't stay still and we're always moving forward. So once again, department, thank you. And if there's no other questions, I'm going to ask that the technical service update presented be received for information. Moved by the warden and second by Ruth. Any further comments? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Under 5, there's no action items. So then we'll move to item 6, which is correspondence information items. And 6A is it. And I'm going to ask anybody that's got a question if they could just stop me. Try to get my attention and we'll try to get any questions answered when we go through this. But first one is since Systems Internet 2025 back to 2024. Next is 6B, which is System Circulation 2026 back to 2024. And we go to 6C, which is library activity report from Lindsay Brock. Do you want to comment on this, Lindsay, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So a few updates. We had our all staff day that we hold annually. So we held that back on October 28th. Had about 65 staff attending. So it's for all of our adult staff. Obviously, our student assistants can attend, but held it at the Kamoka branch. And Paul was able to be with us for the morning as well for the session. So we had a facilitator that the HR department arranged for through our employee assistance program. So Loren came out to talk about resilience, continuing, and change. And she was a really, I think, really dynamic speaker. And it was a really kind of an emotional session, I think, for a number of people. It's a challenging topic, but I've gotten a lot of really great feedback about it. And then in the afternoon, we had some updates from staff. So Shauna and Amy and Liz provided updates on programming and readers advisory and collections. And then we did kind of a session of kind of table talks where we had identified certain staff who were experts on different programs and different services, set up all throughout the library. And as a group, everyone could just kind of travel around and spend some time getting to know people because we've had a lot of staff turnovers. This is the first time for many staff for seeing each other all in one room. Talk about their specialties, talk about their different service areas, share programming ideas, and kind of combine work and that social experience that I think is really important for our staff. So early feedback, we did do a survey, and that early feedback does indicate that it was another successful day, and staff appreciated that opportunity to gather together. So we look forward to using the feedback from that survey to help plan our 2026 day. Nadine and I are registered to participate in Indigenous Cultural Safety Ontario Foundation's training program. So this was offered, we were offered seats in this program through the City of London, who put the offer out to all of their early on sites. And so, it's a fairly significant financial cost to be part of this program. So Nadine and I feel honored to have been included. So it's kind of self-directed, and I think it's about 6 to 8 hours that we have a number of weeks to complete. Course participants, so we will build a deeper understanding of Indigenous histories, cultures, and experiences, work safely and effectively with Indigenous individuals and communities, reflect on and contribute to transforming systems to address and uproot Indigenous specific racism, and engage with interactive scenario-based learning designed for Ontario contexts. So Nadine and I are looking forward to working through that course. We had the OLS conference, the virtual conference last week on the Wednesday, I think, for staff. And then Thursday was the board sessions. I think there were some technical difficulties that I've heard about. So I hope to get some follow-up from OLS about that. And I apologize if it was some time not well spent waiting for some of the sessions to begin. But I do hope to be able to share that feedback with OLS and to see what their response is going to be. Budget. So the budget is all posted online. Any library board members care to have a look at it since it came to you last month. And budget committee meetings will start the week of December 10th for that process. Update on the pool pass lending program. So Amy provided an update and statistics on the program that we ran for the first time this summer. So that was in partnership with Lucan Biddulph and Stratford Caradoc. Lucan Biddulph donated two pool passes to be lent out of the Lucan branch, and Stratford Caradoc donated 2 to be lent out of the Stratford branch and 1 out of Mount Bridges. And you'll see the statistics there. We did only have 7 weeks with the program, so hopefully we will be running it again next summer and be able to start a bit earlier, align with the full pool opening season. But they were really well used. So the Lucan pass circulated 16 times, Strathroy passes 18 times, and Mount Bridges passed 5 times, which kind of, makes sense with the pool being in Strathroy. Obviously, circulation is limited by, the amount of time that people have with the pass. So they have it for, I think it's like 3 days. And then there's also, a little period of time where it's been placed on hold. It's waiting for that person to pick up. So the demand was there. And as Amy noted, there were 30 people who were still had passes on hold when the pools closed. So the demand was there. And I think it was just the capacity for the number of passes that we had. So I think it was well received, and we're going to share this information with those participating municipalities and see if they want to continue for the 2026 pool season. But it was a fun program for us to be part of. And then I just pointed out a few interesting branch programs that are happening. So a Speed Spanish group is operating out of the Dorchester branch. So that's a multi-week program that's running there, a 6-week drop-in program. Earlier in the month, we had a Crime Prevention Week with Strathroy Caradog Police at the Strathroy branch. So had a constable there answering questions about safety and tips and tricks. In Park Hill, again, there at the beginning of the month, there was the Eat Well, Spend Less program that Krista and Sylvia facilitated at the Park Hill branch. And that was funded through a donation by the Egg Farmers of Ontario. So how to prepare a healthy meal. Again, more tips and tricks there. And a Letters of Kindness program, and this is running out of multiple branches, I'm pretty sure. So not just Delaware, I think also Caboca and perhaps Mount Bridges, but partnership with Victoria Hospital, where library patrons can write letters, pick up supplies to write letters at home, and then those letters are shared with people who are undergoing cancer treatment there at Victoria Hospital. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Lindsay. I'm going to open any questions. I've got one note with the pool passes that you had. We're doing with 3 different libraries. Are we looking to expand it to other libraries, ask the municipality if they're interested, or have we asked them and they've declined before?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Great question. So we did reach out to 2 other municipalities that have pools last summer, and they were looking at other programs, I think, where they had free swims themselves. We're looking at other opportunities. So I think we will do the same again this year. So there are 4 municipalities that have public pools, I believe. And so we'll kind of send out the same standard email to see if those other municipalities do want to participate, seeing how the program actually ran this year.
Thank you. Is there any questions as far as Lindsay's report? If not, then we'll move on to item 6D, which is report 2025-2029, our strategic plan report from Lindsay. Lindsay, you want to comment on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to provide a bit of a, first year report back on results and activities and work that we've done that reflect our new strategic plan. These are kind of more of the higher level projects because you would get, a 50-page report of all of the branch programs that align with all of our strategic priorities. So I think next year we'll kind of add in a bit more of those branch specific kind of one-off programs that align with the plan. But this was kind of our wrap-up report for 2025. So divided into those 3 strategic priorities. And I did make the note that many, some of these initiatives do overlap. They could go under, any of those 3 categories. But I kind of had to make the choice about which they most closely align with. So if you look at our first priority, create exceptional experiences, the examples that I've included include 2 projects that were kind of a library and early on partnership. So the Chippewas of the Thames First Nation Lending Kits project and the Chippewas of the Thames First Nation Tough Trade Kits. So these are, again, lending kits, program materials that have been developed in collaboration with and under really direction of the Chippewas of the Thames First Nation that have that kind of culturally grounded experience, Indigenous-led experience that we're incorporating into more of our programs. We wanted to highlight those. And then as well, more exceptional experiences that we're working on at all branches are connected to the London Community Foundation grant that we've received. So we received that grant announcement back in September, where we're partnering with the foundation to support unique initiatives at all 15 branches that support each of our communities. So each branch supervisor and team had the opportunity to put a proposal together about how they would like to spend their portion of the grant money. So it was divided amongst the basic, enhanced, and comprehensive branches. So funds are going to projects like community gardens. Those are obviously on hold a little bit for the winter. You'll see more activity there in the summer. Indigenous-led programming and a number of lending kit projects. One project at the Melbourne branch is just about completed. So we've added, Courtney's proposal was to add a coffee station there because, you know, a small community, no restaurant right now at this point. And so we wanted to kind of create a space where people are encouraged to visit and spend some time in the library. So we've got a little Keurig coffee station, fridge, a little snack tray, and we're able to, you know, purchase the furniture for that as well. So that was one project that's completed. Another initiative was at the Thorndale branch. And that was in collaboration with the municipality, so with Thames Center, kind of seniors programming staff there, where they had a pottery class. So they had like a mobile a company that actually out of Strathroy came to Thorndale and hosted a pottery making workshop, and that was supported through this grant program and was really really popular. So looking forward to giving more of a report as more of those projects are completed. Then the second strategic priority, expand our reach. So examples here are our Connect My Health initiative. So noted here, Connect My Health is an online single access platform that allows users to view their health records from participating hospitals across Southwestern Ontario. Amy has really been the point person on this project, as well as the partnership with LHSC and London Public Library on this virtual healthcare topic. So again, you know, another organization reached out to Amy and myself to help promote this Connect My Health service and, you know, provide more information to our community members. Pool Pass lending program that would fit under expand our reach. Summer snack stations. So, you know, we have a couple community cupboards across the county, and also saw the need for these snack stations over the summer. Kids are out of school, coming to the library more frequently, perhaps needing, you know, to access some snacks during the day. And we were able to access some funding through the Ontario Student Nutrition Program partnership to help support those snack stations. I already mentioned the food cupboards, but also the food donation drive. So that just wrapped up, and it was a joint initiative with the Human Services Department there, doing a food drive where, you know, people could donate food at any branch. As well, there's food sitting in the lobby down here at the county building because the county building staff also wanted to participate. So those items will be distributed to the food banks across the county. And then the last example there under Expand Our Reach is the Chippewas at the Thames First Nation Early Years Health Fair. So an early on facilitator attended this health fair, providing families with information about early on programs and services. Participation allowed caregivers to connect more directly with early on staff. And, you know, in return, early on staff were able to connect with different community partners and families at the health fair. And then the final strategic priority, support lifelong learning. Our staff development day would fall under that, as I already previously discussed. We've got the Southwestern Ontario Aboriginal Health Access Network, so SOHAC cooking program. So this is in partnership with SOHAC. Early on staff delivered a family cooking program for children ages 5 to 10 and their caregivers. And you'll see more information about that, about who participated in the different elements of that program. Another element of lifelong learning, we are getting more requests for co-op positions, for you know, hands-on learning experiences from different schools, really. Mohawk College is one that we get fairly frequently. Western, the MLIS program there reaches out about their co-op program, but I've had a couple other like Teachers College programs where students are looking for those community experiences that don't necessarily have to happen in a school. So we're getting these requests more frequently. We are, able to accommodate only so many, and I do work with supervisors to make sure that they have the capacity to make these experiences really worthwhile. Doug in Park Hill was really excited to welcome a Mohawk student there from the library information technician diploma program. And then Zoe in Strathroy had a high school student co-op position this fall. And the feedback from that person is that, I think they liked the library. That's why they wanted to do their co-op there. They didn't really understand what the profession was, and now they're really interested in pursuing post-secondary in the library field. So that was great to hear. A couple other items under support lifelong learning, our hub community learning platform, and this is a resource that Shauna introduced and is supporting staff in accessing it. So it's a digital learning platform designed to increase health, resilience, leadership, and inclusion of marginalized populations. So we're working to support staff to use that in their branch programming. And then Amy mentioned she did an online resources survey in September. So I thought that aligned with lifelong learning and reaching out to the community as well, getting their feedback about what e-resources we should be devoting the library budget towards, what changes we could make, what learning platforms we might need to. We have the opportunity to add, and Amy was able to profile a couple of those for you today. So those are some high-level projects that align with our strategic plan, and look forward to providing more of these reports for you in 2026.
Before we move on, any questions with that report that was presented? And we'll move on to item 6E, which is the 2025 MetLab conference report from isolation to social connection, libraries and well-being. And that was a report from Liz Adema, a public service coordinator. Would you want to comment on that? It's quite a lengthy report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I attended one day of this conference, and Liz was able to stay for like the full 3 days. So she provided this report. I think I did mention it a couple meetings ago, where the focus was on isolation, and so she's done a great job of breaking down some sessions. It is structured for these metropolitan library systems who are serving 250,000, 500,000 people, but Chatham-Kent Public Library was there, Kingston Frontenac was also there. I think we're in that unique position as well as we surround London, we surround the metropolitan area, and we are experiencing so many of the same things as those larger library systems. So it was a really, I really enjoyed my one day there. It was a great conference to be part of. Great that it was in Toronto, because it's often held in like Barcelona and in the Netherlands. So we won't go there, but we could go to Toronto. So it was a good opportunity. So Liz notes one of the sessions was about this concept of convivencia. And it was a really dynamic speaker. So she explains that convivencia refers to the capability to exist and interact with each other despite differences. So it was a lot about, libraries, we do experience that kind of like tension where we have people from all walks of life, all ages, all groups coming together with perhaps similar needs, but it can create some challenging situations. And how can we approach those as opportunities to be more inclusive and kind of encourage that inclusion, not just as a responsibility of library staff, but as something that all members of society should be considerate of, and kind of working through those challenges and that discomfort. So Liz notes everyone at the library has a responsibility to foster a welcoming space for others. So it's about how can we create those spaces together. So it's a really interesting session. Liz talks about Milton Public Library and their New Horizons for Seniors grant that they received, that they put towards a program called From Isolation to Connection. Liz as well is still working on a project that has led out of our New Horizons grant. You could read about, the various elements of that Milton program. There was a presentation on the Bentway, which is a public space that they're trying to redevelop into a usable public space. So that was interesting. And then branch tours that Liz was able to participate in. But I think, it really did point out that we are experiencing those same challenges that those larger libraries are. And that, I think we've talked about before how library staff are very comfortable with children's programming, that kind of 0 to 6, 0 to 7, 8, 9 age group programming. And we're really trying to, put a lot of resources into adult programming and programming for older adults as well, because there is that need to help with isolation and other concerns that our libraries are facing. So, any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Any questions with that report from Liz? Not, then we'll move on to 6F, which is early on program updating, a report from Nadine Vin, early years program manager. Any comments on that one?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple. Nadine will be coming to the January meeting, I'm pretty sure, to present on a couple topics. So she'll be able to answer additional questions as well. But the Q3 report for September through November shows good participation numbers, a couple new programs based on that were in response to community interest in Dorchester. So a couple new drop-in programs, Little Movers and Toddler Time. Nadine wanted to identify the Indigenous resources and programs that she's been working on. So earlier in November, she arranged for an author visit. So they welcomed the author and team associated with the Adventures of Jay and Gizmo, an Indigenous children's book series. So there was the reading of the book during that program. And then also, I think it was the author's son, but thanks, Shada. The author's son was able to demonstrate a powwow dance. And it was really, really dynamic program that families really enjoyed. So that was one program that Nadine wanted to highlight. And then just looking ahead to 2026, so planning is underway, looking at Kinder Connect programs that'll start in January 2026. So again, linking between early on and that transition to kindergarten, that's so important, that staff are really involved in. And then Nadine has noted a number of other initiatives that are on the books for 2026 as well through the 2026 budget process. So how it's presented right now, the early on budget is kind of presented a little bit separate from the library budget. And within that budget request is a request for funding for additional service hours. I think I mentioned this in November, but if not, so it's around $65,000 that would support additional evening and Saturday programs at what we have 5 service locations. So we're going to make that case to the budget committee. Looking forward to having that discussion because at this point, we've maxed out the funding that we receive from the province. Surveys and feedback from families and caregivers say that evening and Saturday programming is a gap that exists across the county. So in order to really determine what the demand is and who's going to attend and what the impact will be. That's what this budget proposal will put forward to have those additional programming hours for Strathroy, Dorchester, Ilderson, Lucan, and Glencoe sites. So we will see how that discussion goes in December.
Any questions for Liz with respect to that? And next we'll go to 6G, which is Middlesex early on October calendar. And then we'll go to 6H, Community Volunteer Income Tax Program Certificates. And I see, is that for like Strathroy and Lucan? What that's all about?
Yeah, so this is a volunteer-run community volunteer tax program that's run in a number of communities around the county. But the library is connected to the Lucan and Strathroy sites. And last year, there was also a site in Park Hill. The rules have changed, set by CRA, I believe, where an organization has to have more than one volunteer in order to be eligible for this funding. Unfortunately, the Park Hill site does not have 2 volunteers, so they weren't able to apply for this funding this year, hoping to get back into the program again next year. But we're kind of a flow-through agency for this program. We offer the space, and use the funding that we've applied for supplies and things like that. But these are volunteer-run initiatives that support those low-income individuals so they can complete their income tax forms. And these were just the thank you notes and program certificates for that program, but it's really well used across the county.
The session you're in with respect to the appointment for the library.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Yes, I did attend the board meeting with the OLS this month. And just basically an overview and review of the last few meetings and different things that have happened. There was discussion on the new Volt, the valuing Ontario Library Toolkit, which is now ready for the CAO's viewing, I'm told. So a bit of discussion on that, and discussion on change of legislation with Bill 194. Freedom of Information Act discussion, which always happens, it seems. And then, of course, October was Cybersecurity Month. And of course, there's always lots of discussion on hacking and cybersecurity. Several topics were discussed, and if anyone from the board is interested, I'd be very happy to pass on the links for you. There's quite a few of them. There was also a discussion for probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes on the new strategic plan that was launched in June of this year. So that's really about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mary Gay? Thanks for attending that and being a member on the OLS. Is there any other inquiries? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 8, which is new business. Under that, our next meeting is January 13th, 2026. And then we go March 24th of 2026, and then May 26th of 2026. There's no other new business, then I look for a seconder for 9A, our bylaw, number 52, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the November 25th meeting of the library board. And look for a mover and a seconder for first and second reading. Moved by Brad, seconded by Ruth. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Then I look for a mover and seconder. The bylaw be given third and final reading. Moved by Mary Gay, seconded by the Ward. Any further comments? Favor? Get your name in here, Ward. Last act working with you, unless of course you're successful on Thursday. If there's no other questions, then I look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mary Gay, second by Ruth. All in favor? It's carried. I take the opportunity, because we're not going to meet again until January, to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a very happy and successful New Year, and all the best to you through the holiday season.